Support for Unlocking Lake County is provided by Fidelity National Title Insurance Company, offering title insurance and real estate services. With origins tracing back over 150 years, Fidelity National Title facilitates secure closing processes for buyers, sellers, and real estate professionals. Anyone looking for more information can find them on the web at www.fntic.com. Fidelity National Title has offices located all throughout Lake and McHenry counties.
You're listening to Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr.
You guys have a great radio station. You just play the best music.
Support for Unlocking Lake County is provided by Harder & Shotland Law Firm, offering legal services across various areas including criminal defense, real estate, family law, and more. Harder & Shotland is committed to addressing the legal needs of individuals and businesses with a focus on thorough and knowledgeable representation. Information on Harder & Shotland Law Firm can be found at hardershotland.com or by visiting their office at 625 West Rollins Road in Round Lake Beach. They can also be reached at 847-546-0022.
You're listening to Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr.
Unlocking Lake County.
98.3 The Life.
It's the best station on the radio.
Support for Unlocking Lake. Support for Unlocking Lake County is provided by Fidelity National Title Insurance Company, offering title insurance and real estate services. With origins tracing back over 150 years, Fidelity National Title facilitates secure closing processes for buyers, sellers, and real estate professionals. Anyone looking for more information can find them on the web at www.fntic.com. Fidelity National Title has offices located all throughout Lake and McHenry counties.
You're listening to Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr.
You guys have a great radio station. You just play the best music.
Support for Unlocking Lake County is provided by Harder & Shotland Law Firm, offering legal services across various areas including criminal defense, real estate, family. Hello, this is Dick Barr. Welcome back to another lunchtime episode of Unlocking Lake County here with Dick Barr and Kristen Kaufman. Say hello, Kristen.
Welcome back, everybody.
And our favorite mortgage guy, Sly Marinca of the Sly Marinca team at Cross Country Mortgage.
Hello, everybody.
Oh, wow, that was hot.
Oops, sorry.
No,
excited.
it's okay.
I'm excited. I can't say that, though.
You can say excited. You are excited. Your services aren't.
Yes.
Now, why are we getting that? Okay.
Your phone ring?
No. Oh, it's my phone. That's where it's coming from.
For one time, I didn't remind everyone to silence their phones.
Well, my phone is silenced, but I opened up Facebook to see what it's doing. It's like, ooh, where is that coming from? Someone else doing a show in an alternative universe. And we got a special guest into the studio. His name is J.R. Myers. J.R., say hello.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for having me.
Oh, our pleasure. Thanks for coming in. We appreciate you taking time out of the day. J.R. owns a moving services company. J.R., just give us a quick update about what your company is, what you do.
So basically, I've kind of revamped my services ever since COVID had passed. So I basically kind of concentrate on doing small moves and kind of the unorthodox moves that people don't necessarily want to touch for these larger companies. So I basically provide moving services, whether that be dumpsters, loading U-Haul trucks, or pod services for going out of town and all that sort of thing.
Let's get you closer to that mic, I think. I got you, your levels all the way up.
Gotcha.
Try it one more time. Go ahead.
How's that?
Oh, that's much better.
Sounds better here, too.
Yeah, okay, cool. We can actually hear you. So it's more of kind of like, it sounds like maybe more corporate or business?
I call it hybrid services now. So I'm still doing that general household moves. It's just all that unorthodox stuff like loading pods. A lot of people are leaving Illinois, so we help load a lot of pods going out of state. Save money for people leaving the state that way compared to those local long distance charges and that sort of thing.
Okay, awesome. Well, appreciate you coming in. And for those listening, the reason we asked JR to come in, JR has been somewhat of a community activist lately in his community. We're going to get to that later in the show, but I'm going to tease it a little bit because this show is all about everything fun to do in summer, and JR's activism is centered around keeping ice cream trucks in the neighborhoods for the kids throughout the summer. So look forward to that. That's coming at the 1 o'clock hour. But JR's nice enough to join us and be part of the conversation for the first part of our show as well. So thanks for that.
Thank you.
Okay, so what we've got, Kristen. You were supposed to find me a producer. Where are they?
They're on their way. They're coming.
Okay.
It's actually you. You have to look deep within yourself. You'll find them.
I know. That's okay. I have a multiple personality anyway. Okay, so let's get right started with why you come back every week. It's the Market Minute with Dick Barr.
Stay on top of the market with Dick Barr's Market Minute.
Dick Barr's Market Minute.
Hello and welcome back. This is Dick Barr with your Northwest Lake County Market Minute. We're going to go over the real estate, what's happening, what's not happening, what's selling, what's not selling in all of Northwest Lake County, including Antioch, Volo, Fox Lake, Ingleside, Grays Lake, Gages Lake, Haynesville, Third Lake, Wildwood, Gurney, Wadsworth, Old Mill Creek, Lindenhurst Lake, Villa, and Round Lake area. So starting off, we've got, we're a little bit high this week. We've got 135 active properties on the markets. It's higher than it's been in a little bit. I think because we have seen one or two slow weekends in a row. Probably has a lot to do with graduations and proms and end of school activities for a lot of families. But we have got 135 active properties. New listings this week, only 39 compared to 62 last week. Under contract in the past 7 days has been 51, which is up from last week where there's 43. The 173 properties have gone under contract in the past 30 days, which is a large jump from last month where there was only 117. Days on market average is incredibly low. It's getting lower and lower every week, with only 17 days on market during the average sales time, and unfortunately only a just over half month supply of inventory. For those who don't know, or new listeners, the month supply of inventory is if we had no new listings added, how long would it take to sell off everything we've got? And that's only just over half a month. So if you're thinking of selling, you should think about getting it on the market now. It's an ideal time to sell. Pricing, the lowest priced property in the area is $136,000. Highest sold in the past 30 days is $950,000. And the highest active, jump up from last month, $4.9 million with a median price of $350,000. Let's head on to focus on Antioch, where they've got 31 houses actively on the market. That's the highest in the region. New listings this week, 13 compared to 8 last week. 6 under contract in the past 7, half of what it was the prior 7 at 12. 35 properties have gone under contract in the past 30 days in Antioch, which is double the prior month where there was only 18. Days on market average is only 13 days with a 1-month supply of inventory. Lowest price in Antioch was $137,000 with a high of $900, and the highest active on the market house at $2.5 million. Median price in Antioch is $312,000. Now let's head over to Volo, Fox Lake, and Ingleside, where there's 19 homes active on the market. Only 3 new listings this week, slightly down from last week where there was 5. 6 homes have gone under contract in the past week compared to 5 the prior week, and 12 homes have gone under contract in the past 30 days, slightly up from the prior where there were 10. Days on market average is 30 days with a 1.1 month supply of inventory. Lowest price in the area, $136,000 with a high of $530,000. Highest active, just under $1.7 million, and the median price, $319,000. Now over to Grace Lake, Gages Lake, Haynesville, Third Lake, and Wildwood, all combined. 27 homes on the market. That's the second highest in the region. 5 new listings this week compared to 7 the prior week. 7 contracts have happened in the past 7 days, which is double the prior week where there was only 3. And 28 homes have gone under contract in the past 30 days, up from 18 the prior month. Days on market average is 30 days with a 1.1 month supply of inventory, which is exactly the same as Volo and Fox Lake. $175,000 was the lowest price. $500 was the highest, and the highest current active home is $977,000 with a median income of $368,000. Now on over to Gurnee, Wadsworth, and Old Mill Creek, where they're sitting on 23 active properties. 7 new listings this week compared to 11 the prior. 14 homes have gone under contract in the past 7 days. Big jump from last week where there was only 3. 28 homes have sold in the past 30 days, which is about double of where it was the prior month, and 13 days on market average for a sales cycle with just over half a month's supply of inventory. Lowest priced home sold was $220,000 with a high of $664,000, and the highest current active listing is $4.9 million. Median sales price in the Gurnee area was $390,000, and that's this week, that's the highest. Now on to our backyard at Lindenhurst and Lake Villa, where there's 25 homes also on the market. 7 new listings this week. Big drop from the prior where there was 21. 9 homes have gone under contract in the past 7 days, slight down from last week where there was 11. 28 homes have gone under contract in the past 30 days, slightly up from the 24 last month. And the days on market average, only 13 days. But that's not the quickest. 10 days. I read that wrong, and that is the quickest. So the quickest sales time in the region this week is Lindenhurst and Lakeville at only 10 days. Currently sitting on half a month supply of inventory. Lowest price, $145,000. Highest price, $950,000, and the highest active listing is $4.5 million. Median price in Lindenhurst and Lake Villa is $342,000. Now let's wrap it up with Round Lake area, where only 10 active listings on the market, lowest in the area. 4 new listings this week, about half of last week. Under contract in the past 7 days, there were 9, exactly the same as the prior. This month, there was 36 homes have gone under contract, which is about a 50% increase from last month, where there was 26. There are 17 days on market average for Round Lake area, and only a 0.2 month supply of inventory. Lowest price in the region was $210,000 with a high price of $470,000. And the highest current active listing in the Round Lake area is $575,000 with a median price of $340,000. And that'll conclude the Market Minute for this week. Okay, guys, what do you think? Any surprises?
Not really surprising. I mean, it's exactly what I've been seeing out there.
Yeah. Sly, what have you been seeing by way of loan starts?
Yeah, about the same. Very limited inventory. Lots of pre-approved buyers. Lots of people looking. Lots of people putting in offers, but very difficult to get those offers accepted right now.
Yeah, everyone kind of going up into multiple offer situations. Yeah. This weekend, we went live on a couple of listings, and it was interesting. Kristen, you held at least one open house, right?
It was supposed to be 2, but yeah, it ended up being the 1.
Right. And then so we had the open house, and she was saying that the traffic was kind of slow. We noticed that on the agent showings, it was kind of slow. So Monday morning, I called all the agents in the area who had new listings to see, hey, what was your experience what's going on this weekend. And what we found out is everything 350 and under, we're getting anywhere from 15 to 30 showings, and everything 350 and over was getting very limited. So, and I heard agents saying that some of their listings only had one showing.
Sure.
But then, we had, half a dozen to 10 on those. But we're already starting to see, like this week, we noticed that we're getting 1 or 2 showings a day on those homes that weren't getting the weekend popped with it.
Yeah, but like you said earlier, I mean, it's that time of year where, you have high school graduation. I know I drove by, Antioch this weekend, and there was people all over the place. You got graduation parties. You have, just kids getting out of school, end of year school activities. So, yeah, you could see how it might have been a little bit slower, but I still think, if you have a house to sell, get it on the market as soon as possible.
Yeah, and that would really actually help with the market. It will help with this runaway pricing, too. I mean, at some point, it's going to become unsustainable.
Yeah.
I mean, how high can prices go before people literally just cannot afford to do it?
Or just refuse to.
Yeah.
Or just refuse to,
Well,
right?
news today just came out that existing home sales actually fell 1.9% in April to a seasonally adjusted slowest pace since January. So I think we're starting to see the effects of this higher interest rate environment, the golden handcuff, people not wanting to leave, their current interest rates, some people getting maybe disappointed that they can't get the house they want because they're getting, outbid. So, yeah, need inventory. That's what's going to fix all this.
Yeah, I had a conversation the other night with a gentleman who's a large property owner in Lake County, and his idea was, I guess the feds are meeting June 12th, and they had given some indication that they might lower.
Yeah.
So maybe some of the smart money is sitting on the sidelines right now. Far be it from government to stand in the way of free enterprise. What was that? What is the famous saying? Oh, never mind. I can't think of it. I was thinking about, well, I think it comes down to government's not the solution to your problem. It is the problem.
Yeah.
Don't tell Big Government Gary.
Big Government Gary loves big government. Yeah. I don't know where he's been.
That's for the best.
Yeah, me too. I think his bit died like he did 30, 40 years ago.
But he lives with us forever.
He does, in the annals of what is it, the Radio Hall of Shame.
Every time you see your tax bill, I'll be there.
He was a great. I thought it was funny, but I just couldn't remember the voice to use this differently each time.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so we've been trying to get to this topic for quite some time, and we keep running out of time because
we can't shut up.
we can't shut up.
We just can't.
We're the ADHD. Maybe we should change the name of the show to ADHD.
The ADHD kids just hyperfixate on the thing they love.
Yeah, ADHD HDRD. So
oh my God.
So ADHD High Def Radio Development Program or something. I don't know. But I wanted to
With
talk
DB.
with DB and CK and SM.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not terrible.
Yeah.
Sorry, Sly.
Yeah. Lucky
Oh
me.
my God, stop. I just realized.
Okay, so I keep having to bring my levels down a little bit. I'm sorry to all the people who's I'm pinning your speakers, but my levels seem to keep going up. Solar panels on roofs. So as we're getting into summer, which is the peak production season for solar panels, but it's also obviously the peak selling season. I wanted to bring this up for quite some time because what we've experienced recently with a lot of homeowners is they're telling us that salespeople for these solar panels are going door to door, and they're selling them not just on the benefits of solar, but they're also giving them what I perceive to be inaccurate information as to the marketability and saleability of having those panels. And I want everyone to have the correct, well, I'm not going to call it correct. I want everyone to have my opinion. And, of course, my opinion is always correct. But, for the purposes of those listening, I know you don't all always agree with me. The solar panels, and I'm going to just get blatant, our experience when selling a home with solar panels, especially when they're leased, is not just does it not add value, but we've seen examples where it actually removed value. Less buyers are willing to take the leap on signing a rather hefty contract. It's like a 50-page contract in order to take that transfer. But what's worse about it is it makes a secondary negotiation as part of the main negotiation, which is of the house. So not only do the buyers have to accept the house and whatever that entails and whatever contractual obligations that is, there's also that now they have to accept all the terms of the sometimes 50-page agreement that is rather onerous and also raises some doubts in buyers' heads about, well, what happens in year 12 if there's a leak caused by the solar panels? Will they warrant the repairs? And so the way we read some of the contracts, at least specifically the most recent one we did with Sunrun, it does not. They only warrant against leaks for 10 years. And that's a problem for some buyers.
Right.
How about you, JR? Do you have solar panels?
I do not, and I've been approached these past few summers, like you said, and I've asked many times. My biggest concern is pretty much what you said right there, is the insurance. Who is responsible if there is an actual issue given between the roof and the solar panels and the install and all that sort of thing? And I can't get a straight answer every time I ask that question.
Yeah, well, we had a sales guy come to our house, and we actually were ready to make the decision to do it. We had gone through the whole process. We filled out the application.
Oh, you were into it.
I was into it.
Okay.
Because here's the one thing. I said I'm going to be honest about the pros and the cons. There are savings. Under the different grant programs and rebate programs and tax incentives, the payments are usually, the lease payments are usually that of where you will experience savings. Are they huge savings? Well, in Northern Illinois, we don't have a ton of sun. But I've seen the bills for the summers, and there's definitely savings when those solar panels are really cranking out energy. In the winter, obviously, those savings drop down pretty aggressively. But in the summer, they're good. Like if you're in Arizona, I think it's probably an easier decision.
Yeah, no brainer.
California, Florida.
Everyone does. Yeah, my buddy lives in Vegas. They're in the process right now of upping because their energy costs are astronomical.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I bet. Yeah, running your air conditioner basically year-round. Here, I want to fix your, I think you moved on me, Sly, so I want to fix your camera. So
While you do that, I'll read a listener comment that we got in.
Yeah, go for
Debbie
it.
says, I see a lot of this in Round Lake, and I know several people who sell them. I do not want them. I don't have them or want them.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder if Debbie's still listening, if she can give a little insight into what makes her decide that she doesn't want them.
Yeah, Debbie, if you're still watching, why don't you want them? And if anyone else is watching it right now or listening live, feel free to add any comments or questions in the Facebook Live feed on the Dick Barr Group Facebook page, and we are monitoring them as they come in so we can discuss them if time and relevance allows for it.
Awesome, Kristen. Thanks for keeping an eye on those. Obviously, it's impossible for me to watch those, so it's great that we've got someone watching those. We had a situation where we had a house for sale, and the buyer made an offer on a house for $410,000. Once they reviewed the contract, the buyers dropped their offer by $10,000. So they went from $410 to $400.
Wow.
Now, luckily, there was so many offers, it didn't matter. We had enough offers where we were still able to get way over asking for the seller. But in instances where there's fewer buyers competing on that property, there's definitely seems to be a holdback. The number one question I get from an agent or a buyer when they call about the property is, are the solar panels owned or leased? And there seems to be a significant difference in value for that. If you own them outright, well, that's a different story.
Yeah.
Because there's some advantages, obviously, to owning them. But there's also some cons to owning them. Cons to owning them, you're required for maintenance. You have to maintain it. If you ever have to do a repair, it's on you. But the benefits are you don't have the lease payment, and you also, I believe, get to sell more of that energy back to ComEd when you're overproducing. And I think it's limited in what you can sell back to ComEd because I think the solar companies own that sell back, or they bank it against you for future. But you have the big problem of the upfront expense, which is significant on that. So, Kristen, it looks like you got a response.
We did. So Debbie said, to me, the savings doesn't warrant the unknowns. I spoke with several sales folks, and they were not consistent with any of the what-if questions.
Yeah, that sounds like a salesman
That's
to me.
it. 100%. That's everybody's
And that's such a great point,
experiencing
Debbie.
something.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you for that feedback. I guess I kind of feel the same way about all door-to-door sales.
Yeah.
I mean, every time there's a storm, like I'm surprised, people aren't knocking on our door right now because of yesterday's windstorm. I'd like to know what percentage of people actually go with the people who knock on their doors with that sales pitch.
I don't know. I mean, it's got to be a non-zero number, right? Because otherwise, why would they continue doing it?
Yeah, no, yeah, absolutely. I mean, anytime I'm looking to work with a professional, what am I doing? I'm asking people I know who are related to the business, and I'm asking for their referrals, right?
Yeah.
Who have you worked with? How many times do I get requests from either past clients or friends and say, hey, I know you're in real estate, so who are the best attorneys? Who are the best lenders? Who are the best this? Who are the best that? Now, I can answer that question on the phone, but I can't answer that question on the radio.
And that's the tough thing about those door-to-door sales too, is basically their sales pitch. You're changing the price on me. They're on site, so it's just an off-putting thing to me as well too.
Yeah. And then you're expected to understand and read this like 50-page document on the fly. When it's like when you upgrade your Adobe Acrobat and it's like 50 pages. Do you agree to this? Yeah, of course I do. I have no idea what it says.
Now that being said, not to throw shade on salespeople who go door to door, because that's got to be really tough work to do. That's really putting yourself out there and just being willing to accept rejection over and over and over and over again all day, hoping for a sale. So not every salesperson obviously is going to be a scammer, but just so that our listeners have an idea of what to look out for if something like this were to occur, anytime someone is asking you to pay cash up front right away, or there's any sort of urgency involved in needing to pay them now to lock you in on this deal, that should be a red flag to you.
Yeah, and you raise a good point. And, I've seen some financial product people and some real estate agents go door to door. But what I notice is that I don't see them going door to door trying to sell on a particular product. I think they go more door to door to create relationships.
Absolutely.
And set like conversations. Yeah. It's like, hey, I'm in the area. This is what I do. Right. I'm not asking you to sign a document right now. I'm not selling you anything specific. I'm just saying,
wanted to say, hey,
this is what I do. If I could be of use to you and you want to have a conversation, great. So it's not much different from that and, shooting out a postcard, right? So, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about high pressure, hard sales tactics to get them to sign on the bottom line, then there now. And speaking of scams, who's seen this Elvis Graceland foreclosure?
Oh, I heard about. My wife asked me about it the other day, but what is it all about?
Yeah, have you heard?
I read a bit about it. Yeah.
Okay, so headlines yesterday. Riley Coe, who's Lisa Marie's daughter. She's the granddaughter of Elvis and Priscilla Presley. She is suing to stop a foreclosure on Graceland. So immediately I'm thinking, because I didn't do my due diligence of reading the article, I'm thinking, typical Hollywood, blah, 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 irresponsible, blah, blah, blah. But it doesn't appear that way at all. It appears they filed a lawsuit and they got a temporary restraining order. And this is we're going to circle back to how homeowners in Illinois can protect themselves from this. But apparently there's a company out there that forged a trust document from Lisa Marie saying that she used Graceland as collateral for a $3.8 million loan. And when she died, no payments were made, and so now they're foreclosing. So they're trying to force a foreclosure sale. What Riley Coe is alleging is that the company that is alleging that there was a loan doesn't exist. It was a forged document, and the lawyers in their filing even said they contacted the notary who notarized Lisa Marie's signature, and the notary says, I never met Lisa Marie Presley, and I never notarized that document.
Wow. Unreal.
So this is a situation where a company comes in, potentially, allegedly, and finds a situation, forges an instrument, records it, and then is filing a foreclosure. And what's scary is that's actually really easy to do. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of stories where homeowners lose a combination of their equity or their entire house because of deed fraud. coming in there, filing liens, filing fake instruments. And then when there's someone who passed away, especially, it's very difficult to prove that it's not real. So here we are. It's going to be interesting to see if she's successful at stopping the sale and what type of proof they'll have to proffer to get that done. Here's all that scary stuff. But how do you protect yourself about doing that? You can go to the Lake County Recorder site, and there's a way that you can flag your deed. So if anything comes in as a lien against your property, they will email you, and you can go to the Lake County Recorder's website. Actually, it's the Lake County Clerk now. Lake County merged the Recorder's office to the Recorder and the Clerk's office. So we did that by referendum about 4 years ago. So now the Clerk and the Recorder are one and the same. But you can go to their website, and then you can put a alert on your deed. So if anyone starts screwing with it, you'll get that alert so you can respond to it quickly. Because in these cases, any kind of legal matters, speed is key.
Absolutely.
Right.
Any other comments on there, Kristen?
Not so much about scams, but I do want to bring it back around to just having a final thought in regards to solar panels. No one on the show is saying that they're bad and don't get them, or they're terrible or anything.
Exactly.
But just be cautious of the sales pitch, especially when you're being told that it's going to up the value of your home.
And that's the big takeaway. We're not making an opinion one way or the other. You could think solar panels are great. You could think they're terrible. What I tell people is, if you love solar panels and you want solar panels and you don't care about the effect of value, then buy them.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just like if you were to buy purple, cabinets.
Absolutely.
I think it would make it harder to sell your house, but if you love them, then get them. No one's trying to stop you from doing that. We all want you to have the information, so when, if you're using that as a reason. I had a call about 4 months ago from a resident in one of the neighborhoods locally who said, hey, should I put solar panels on the house? And I said, well, why? And he said, well, because he literally said, the salesman told me it would raise the value and I plan on selling in 6 months. I'm like, no, absolutely not, because there will be no increase in value, especially in that short term of a period.
Yeah, right. None of it's even paid off.
None of it's even paid off, right. So you won't even experience any savings. And especially because it was still winter. So you'll experience no savings. You'll make it harder to sell. So what have you. But
can I touch real quick, too,
please,
on that as well before we move on? It can potentially make it a little bit more difficult for you to get approved for your loan as well. So if you're a buyer and you're trying to purchase a home that has a lease that is going to be transferred over to you, we would have to count that payment, that lease payment, into your debt-to-income ratios.
Right.
So if you're tight already, let's say you're going to the maximum you qualify for, and now there's an additional expense that us as a lender didn't know about, and we have to recalculate that in, it could possibly throw things off. So not only are you dealing with maybe where people don't want them, they don't want the payment, but it could potentially also make it harder for you to get approved for your loan as well.
Wow, what a great point. Sly, I love having you on the show. I feel like I learn something literally every single time you open your mouth.
My pleasure.
I'm learning here too, so this is great.
And there's one other aspect of that, not mortgage related, but qualifications related. You have to qualify. So the buyer has to qualify for the payment. So they have to have good credit. When you say, well, you're buying a house, of course you have good credit. No. There's some people who pay cash they pay cash because they have no credit.
Yeah.
And if they don't qualify, so you could be in contract on something you think is cash, and they're not able to assume that transfer of that agreement. You could be in a bad situation where you might finding yourself having to buy out the contract.
Oof.
That could be $10,000-$15,000 depending
least,
on where you are with the lease.
Could be trouble.
What were you going to say, Kristen?
Oh, I was just agreeing with you.
Oh, well, you don't have to agree with me. I always know everyone always agrees with me with everything I always say.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so you don't have to say it. It's implied.
Perfect.
We will be right back.
Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr will return in just a few moments after these important messages. Don't touch that dial.
Support for Unlocking Lake County is provided by Fidelity National Title Insurance Company, offering title insurance and real estate services. With origins tracing back over 150 years, Fidelity National Title facilitates secure closing processes for buyers, sellers, and real estate professionals. Anyone looking for more information can find them on the web at www.fntic.com. Fidelity National Title. Support for Unlocking Lake County is provided by Harder & Shotland Law Firm, offering legal services across various areas including criminal defense, real estate, family law, and more. Harder & Shotland is committed to addressing the legal needs of individuals and businesses with a focus on thorough and knowledgeable representation. Information on Harder & Shotland Law Firm can be found at hardershotland.com or by visiting their office at 625 West Rollins Road in Round Lake Beach. They can also be reached at 847-546-0022.
You're listening to Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr.
Unlocking Lake County.
98.3 The Life.
It's the best station on the radio.
Support for Unlocking Lake County comes from the Sly Marinca team at Cross Country Mortgage, specializing in a range of mortgage solutions tailored to meet the needs of homebuyers and homeowners. With a focus on delivering efficient and knowledgeable service, the Sly Marinca team is dedicated to facilitating a smooth mortgage process. Their office is located at 532 Lake Street, Suite A in Antioch, Illinois. They can also be reached at sly@ccm.com or by phone at 847-722-1775.
You're listening to Unlocking Lake County
Unlocking Lake County.
with Dick Barr. 98.3 The Life.
Support for Unlocking Lake County comes from the Dick Barr Group at Village Realty, offering both residential and commercial real estate services across northeastern Illinois. Find us at our office located at 1915 East Grand Avenue in Lindenhurst, or visit us online at www.dickbarr.com. For a personal real estate experience, they can also be reached at 847-579-9736. At the Dick Barr Group, your property goals are their mission.
This is Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr.
Support for Unlocking Lake County is provided by Fidelity National Title Insurance Company, offering title insurance and real estate services. With origins tracing back over 150 years, Fidelity National Title facilitates secure closing processes for buyers, sellers, and real estate professionals. Anyone looking for more information can find them on the web at www.fntic.com. Fidelity National Title has offices located all throughout Lake and McHenry counties.
You're listening to Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr.
Your favorite show right here on 98.3 FM.
98.3 The Life.
Support for Unlocking Lake County is provided by Harder & Shotland Law Firm, offering legal services across various areas including criminal defense, real estate, family law, and more. Harder & Shotland is committed to addressing the legal needs of individuals and businesses with a focus on thorough and knowledgeable representation. Information on Harder & Shotland Law Firm can be found at hardershotland.com or by visiting their office at 625 West Rollins Road in Round Lake Beach. They can also be reached at 847-546-0022.
Unlocking Lake County.
98.3 The Life.
Support for Unlocking Lake County is provided by Harder & Shotland Law Firm, offering legal services across various areas including criminal defense, real estate, family law, and more. Harder & Shotland is committed to addressing the legal needs of individuals and businesses with a focus on thorough and knowledgeable representation. Information on Harder & Shotland Law Firm can be found at hardershotland.com or by visiting their office at 625 West Rollins Road in Round Lake Beach. They can also be reached at 847-546-0022.
You're listening to Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr.
You guys have a great radio station. You just play the best music.
Support for Unlocking Lake County comes from the Sly Marinca team at Cross Country Mortgage, specializing in a range of mortgage solutions tailored to meet the needs of homebuyers and homeowners. With a focus on delivering efficient and knowledgeable service, the Sly Marinca team is dedicated to facilitating a smooth mortgage process. Their office is located at 532 Lake Street, Suite A in Antioch, Illinois. They can also be reached at sly@ccm.com or by phone at 847-722-1775.
You're listening to Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr.
Unlocking Lake County.
98.3 The Life.
It's the best station on the radio.
Support for Unlocking Lake County comes from the Dick Barr Group at Village Realty, offering both residential and commercial real estate services across northeastern Illinois. Find us at our office located at 1915 East Grand Avenue in Lindenhurst, or visit us online at www.dickbarr.com. For a personal real estate experience, they can also be reached at 847-579-9736. At the Dick Barr Group, your property goals are their mission.
You're listening to Unlocking Lake County
Unlocking Lake County.
with Dick Barr. 98.3 The Life.
Support for Unlocking Lake County is provided by Fidelity National Title Insurance Company, offering title insurance and real estate services. With origins tracing back over 150 years, Fidelity National Title facilitates secure closing processes for buyers, sellers, and real estate professionals. Anyone looking for more information can find them on the web at www.fntic.com. Fidelity National Title has offices located all throughout Lake and McHenry counties.
You're listening to Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr.
You guys have a great radio station. You just play the best music.
Support for Unlocking Lake County is provided by Harder and Shotland Law Firm, offering legal services across various areas including criminal defense, real estate, family law, and more. Harder and Shotland is committed to addressing the legal needs of individuals and businesses with a focus on thorough and knowledgeable representation. Information on Harder and Shotland Law Firm can be found at hardershotland.com or by visiting their office at 625 West Rollins Road in Round Lake Beach. They can also be reached at 847-546-0022.
You're listening to Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr.
Unlocking Lake County.
98.3 The Life.
It's the best station on the radio.
Support for Unlocking Lake County comes from the Sly Marinca team at Cross Country Mortgage, specializing in a range of mortgage solutions tailored to meet the needs of homebuyers and homeowners. With a focus on delivering efficient and knowledgeable service, the Sly Marinca team is dedicated to facilitating a smooth mortgage process. Their office is located at 532 Lake Street, Suite A in Antioch, Illinois. They can also be reached at sly@ccm.com or by phone at 847-722-1775.
Welcome back to Unlocking Lake County with your host, Dick Barr.
And welcome back to the second half hour of Unlocking Lake County. I'm Dick Barr, your host, with Kristen Kaufman.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back.
And Sly Marinca with the Sly Marinca team at Cross Country Mortgage.
Hello, hello.
And the special guest in the studio is J.R. Myers from Wauconda.
Hello, everybody.
Okay, so Kristen said that we had a request for information on where to file that flag on your deeds for the county recorder site. We will get that, and we'll get back to them after the show.
Yeah, we can post that on our Facebook page.
Yeah, absolutely. But thanks very much. And for those of you who tune in every week just to hear the handsome Sly Marinca and his Mortgage Minute, here we go.
Here is the Mortgage Minute with Sly Marinca and Cross Country Mortgage on Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr.
Hello, everybody, and thank you for having me back again. Happy to be here. I know everybody's excited to hear what I have to say today.
I'm always excited to hear what you have to say on our show.
I think it's the most informative part of the show.
It really is.
Such an interesting topic. Mortgage rates and what the heck they're doing and why they're doing it and kind of everything that goes with that. So
it could be worse. It could be insurance.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I guess the two are probably go hand in hand here and there. But so current 30-year average is actually down to 7.09%. The last time we were here, it was 7.3%.
Right.
Nice.
So I think some of this bad economic news, which is never good, has kind of got investors and the traders thinking that the Fed is possibly going to cut rates at some point here.
Oh yeah.
There's actually Fed minutes going to be released here today, where they'll give us a little bit better of an idea if that's coming sooner or later. The markets are just primed and waiting for the first signal of the Fed to start cutting rates. I do think that would help as well. Obviously everybody wants to pay less. The less you pay, the more buyers are going to come into the market. So
not Gary.
Not Gary. So we're just kind of keeping an eye on that. The 10-year Treasury yield has also dropped since the last time we were here quite a bit, almost 30 basis points in the last 30 days. So that is a big dip, and we're kind of excited to see that. So rates right around 7% still for a 30-year fixed. 15 years is going to be right around 6.5%, obviously depending on credit and debt to income ratios and the loan to value and all that. But definitely better than it was a couple weeks ago. So that's it for the rates. What I wanted to touch on today, just real quick, I've gotten quite a few calls lately for people looking to tap into the equity in their home and how to do that. And there are several different options. I always kind of walk people through what those look like.
Before we get into the options, do you mind explaining what some of the uses for that might be, like commonly?
Absolutely, yeah. So a lot of times it's debt consolidation. So if you're getting in trouble with credit cards and the interest rates are 29%, 34%, 36%, whatever they are, and you're in a spot where you just can't come up with the money to get those down. You're just basically paying the interest. That's a big one. Home improvements, that's another one. A lot of people are staying put. They're not moving as much. And, if you need that extra bedroom, if you need an addition, if the roof is bad, things like that. So debt consolidation, I would say number one, number two for home improvements. And then obviously sometimes people, will want to buy a second home or an investment property, and it's always cheaper to buy it. Typically, I should say it's cheaper to borrow the money against your primary residence as opposed to an investment property or a second home. So the options we have that lenders typically have for tapping into the equity of the home is the first one would be to do what's called a cash out refinance. That's where we do an appraisal on the property. And whatever it's worth today, not what you paid for it, not what you originally bought it for, but current value, and you pull a new first mortgage out, pay off your existing first mortgage, pay that off, and you have an altogether new loan, and you get a check at the closing. The downside to doing it that way...
Oh, quick question before we get into the downsides. What percentage of value can they pull out on that? Typically, you could go up to about 80% of the value, the current value of the home, the appraised value. Great.
So if you have a $200,000 house, you're up to $160. If it's a $300,000 house, $240. So about 80% of the value is the max that you could do on a cash out refinance. But the downside to doing that is you get rid of your first mortgage. And if you're like most of the people I know, you probably refinanced in 2020 or 2021 and got a rate in the low twos or mid twos or threes. And so you get rid of that. So not ideal. So I have a lot of borrowers that are like, well, I don't want to get rid of my mortgage. I'm at 3%, and I totally get it. I wouldn't either. So that's where we kind of start looking at secondary options. And those typically are to do either what's called a home equity line of credit, which is just that. It's a line of credit attached to the equity you have in your home. You borrow against it, you pay back, you borrow against it, you pay back. And it typically is about a 10-year period where you could borrow and pay back. And then after that, you got to pay it back, whatever the balance is remaining at that time. The downside, so that it's very flexible. What I like about the home equity line of credit option, it is super, super flexible with that ability to borrow and pay back. What I don't like about it is that the rate is adjustable, meaning The Fed controls the rates. When they raise the rates, your rate on that is going to go up just like it does on the credit cards and car loans and things like that.
And is it is it point for point? So if they raise it one basis, you go up one basis?
Correct. So it's the currently prime is what, 8.5%. So typically on a home equity line of credit, you're going to be at either prime or prime plus 0.25% or prime plus 0.5%. So every time the Fed moves the rates, you're either going up or down. So the point is, you don't want to be, have a big balance on there and expect your payment to be here, and then all of a sudden 2 years later, the Feds raise the rates 5% and your payment's up here. People could get in trouble with that. So always be careful on the home equity line of credit. Know that it is typically going to be adjustable.
On that HELOC, is there a difference in the loan to value ratio that they'll do?
Yeah, every lender is different with that. Every bank is different with that. I know some banks will go up to 90% of the value of the home combined. So if you owe, if you have a mortgage at 70% of the value of the home, you could typically go up to about 20% on the home equity line of credit to be a combined 90%. But some lenders won't. Some lenders are 80%. Some lenders are 85%. And typically, the best place to get the best deal for that is a place you already bank. We offer them, but I tell people all the time, you could probably get a better deal if you just go to your bank.
See, that's why I love you. Seriously.
I agree.
Yep.
I love that attitude as
The
well.
honesty there is so refreshing.
Yeah, this
That's
is
what
why
I tell
you
my
get referred.
customers.
Yep.
Is because you're a partner in their their
absolutely.
lifelong financial stability. So I appreciate that.
Yep. So where you already have that relationship, where they already have your checking account or savings account or something like that, relationship-wise, that's typically going to be your best bet interest rate-wise. But not all banks do it. So if you go to your credit union or your bank and they say no, there are options possibly for you. Then the other product that is more of a home equity loan, where it's a fixed rate, a fixed payback period, that doesn't give you the flexibility to borrow as you need. You basically get a check at the closing and you're on the hook for making that payment. Whereas on the home equity line of credit, you don't have to borrow anything and you pay zero. You don't pay anything until you pull money out. So it's a little bit more flexible to do the line of credit, whereas the home equity loan option is going to be, here's the money, here's your monthly payment, and the interest rates are also going to be a little bit higher because it is a second lien position. Okay. So again, the point is, obviously you don't want to do these things unless you absolutely have to, but on the debt consolidation part, I mean, I'm seeing people that they don't have any other options. And it's like you have the equity before you start missing payments and, let your credit, go down and not be able to do anything, down the road, may be a good option, to consolidate some of that debt. And if you could reduce from 25, 30% on your credit cards to 10% on your mortgage, that may be a great opportunity for you to save some money and get yourself in a position where you could start paying some of that principal back.
Yeah, that's significant. Now, we tend to, as people who have been in the business and know what we're saying a lot, use a lot of jargon that people may not necessarily know. You've used the phrase loan to value ratio a couple of times. Do you mind just explaining to listeners who don't know what that is, what that means?
Absolutely. So loan to value is basically the amount that you're borrowing compared to the value of the home. So an 80% loan to value would mean I'm borrowing $80,000 on my $100,000 loan. It's a percentage. LTV is one. Debt to income ratio, that's another one that we use all the time. And that's basically, we look at your monthly debts, divide that by your monthly income, and we come up with a ratio. Most products are going to cap you out around 50%, give or take. So if you have $2,000 a month in bills, that means you need to make at least $4,000 a month to qualify at a 50% debt to income ratio.
Great.
So,
yeah, and I've never been a fan of the 50%.
It is crazy if you think about it, because it doesn't take into account your cell phone, your utilities, your food, your all the other living, and these days that's getting more and more expensive. Obviously, with insurance costs and all the things that we don't even take into account. That I know I have those. I know in real life those are very expensive. So. But that's what the rules are. That's what we go by. So it's one of those things.
Think of the people who in 2020 did a 50% DTI, got approved for a FHA loan, and I've seen some go as high as 53.
Yep, 55, 56 even for FHA. Conventional, you're capped at 50.
And so they did this at 55% debt to income ratio, and then prices have soared 20 to 30% since then. So all of their other expenses are now drastically higher,
right?
And they're still stuck with those high payments.
And that's why I really wanted to talk about these options, because I'm getting those calls as well. People that I helped a few years ago that are now hey, Sly, my taxes went up $1,500 this year. My insurance went up $900. How am I going to come up with that extra $200-something a month? What can we do? And it's like, well, let's look at all of your other expenses. What do you have that you're paying? Because refinancing your mortgage isn't going to be the solution right now. If you're at 3.5% and you're coming now and you're at 7.09% as the current average, your payment's actually going to go up. So we need to look at other options and to see if you have that equity to where you could tap into that to pay off some of the other stuff and leave the mortgage at the 3% you have it at.
Yeah.
So just really, people have to know that, before you miss payments, before you just say, the problem's not going to go away, the debt's still going to be there. And it's really important to get in touch with someone that could take a look at your situation and advise you, the right way on how to go about trying to knock some of that out. So.
And you know what? It's not a fun conversation to have.
No.
I get it. Sometimes it's a lot to even have to mentally take on the task of figuring out where to start.
Yeah.
But that's why having conversations with people who are knowledgeable and are honest can really make a big difference in you being able to take a step forward and starting to tackle your debt that's accumulating.
And if you let it go too late to where you do start missing those payments, it's going to make it that much harder because your credit score is going to drop and your options are going to start being limited. And I mean, I know clients that have literally, faced foreclosure and they have equity. I mean, they have equity where they could have done something about it, but they just, and it's like, at that point, you miss enough payments, they're going to foreclose and the lawyer's going to collect fees, the lender's going to charge fees, and you're not going to get what you should have gotten once they sell that house. So
people get that kind of head in the sand ostrich.
Yeah, like it's going to go away.
Right, as if I ignore it long enough. But the longer you ignore it, the harder it gets for us to help you.
Correct.
If you're just you're 3 months in, you're missing your payments. Now it's tough because now they won't accept piecemeal payments anymore.
Right.
So the lenders are going to say it's all or nothing. And then, but at least at that point, we can still help you because there's plenty of time in the foreclosure process to see if you can qualify for some sort of forbearance, see if you qualify for some sort of assistance program or loan product, or even if there's enough equity, sell your house, pay it off so it doesn't destroy you. You don't have to do that major credit hit or even potential bankruptcy.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So get in touch with an expert, locally, talk to an agent if you're at that place and, have them look at what the house is worth versus what you currently owe. And, you may have to move, but at least you're not having to move and losing your house too.
There are options.
So,
yeah. Now, what about, I know you touched on it. I haven't seen, when I got into the business back in 2004, second mortgages were a big thing.
Yeah.
They were even used for purchases.
Right.
I haven't seen them in years. What's going on with those?
Yeah, so it kind of went away for a while. We were doing the 80-20s, the 80-15-5s. My first house I bought on an 80-15-5 where I put down 5%, had a 80% first mortgage to alleviate the PMI, so I'm not borrowing 95 on one, had a 15% HELOC. Easy deal. But then after the crash, that kind of went away. Second mortgages, if there is a crash and if there is a foreclosure, typically the second mortgage gets zero.
Right.
There's not going to be enough left to pay off the first and the fees and everything else and the second mortgage.
A lot of them will show up to the auction to bid on the houses just to protect their position.
So that's the thing. It's like that kind of went away for a while, and it's still not back in full force. But, I mean, you have to look at it now. How often do you hear of a foreclosure? Not super often yet.
not in front of the curtain.
Yeah.
We're starting to see the rumblings behind the curtain.
Correct. But I think that's part of the reason why this has kind of come back. And let's face it, people have equity. The values have gone up how much over the last couple of years. And they're not doing what they did before. I don't see 80-20s. That's not an option. And even before, I told you, 90 is about the cap that I've heard. And in fact, a lot of banks, lenders will only go to 80. So they still have that 20% cushion if the property values do decrease, where it's not going to, you're not at 100% of the value of the home on the two mortgages. Yeah. So it is conservative, but it is possibly an option. So I don't know if there's one or two listeners that could learn from this, or that could, that this could, or that somebody or somebody that they know. I feel like there are possibly options to look into, on the second mortgage front. And
it needs to be said, for anyone listening who might be in this situation, or know someone who's in this situation, the beauty of people like us in our industry, not us specifically, is we don't charge for our advice.
Right.
Our advice is deemed to give you a path forward. What makes sense? What are your options? Here's what you might be able to do.
Right.
Talk to the realtor, talk to the loan officer, talk to an attorney. Now, the attorney does charge for their advice, but we don't, because we're commission-based, and we get paid when we actually transact business. But our advice is not what will guarantee a commission for us. Our advice is what makes sense for you. Here's your options. Now you can make an informed decision on that.
Absolutely, because we love this stuff. We love talking about this stuff. We love being able to provide that value.
We're geeks and nerds about it.
Absolutely. We spend all of our time thinking about it, looking it up, reading about it. So like when someone gives us the opportunity to info dump and help them at the same time, oh my God, it's like a drug for us.
Absolutely.
It's like another opportunity to hear myself talk. I love it.
Well, and help too, because I have that like helping gene that I think a lot of realtors have, because like, yes, it's an opportunity to make money and have a career, but also like we get to help people make the biggest purchases of their lives, or not make the biggest purchases of their lives if it's not the best idea. And we love to help people.
Right. And we don't look at people like you're a transaction to me. It's like you're a human being. I want to help you. And even if I'm not going to make a single dime off of helping you, that's okay. Because I know you're going to, at some point, possibly refer me to somebody, say, oh, yeah, this person really helped me out, 2 years ago or
and even
whatever.
If you don't, that personal satisfaction of just knowing that we helped you is worth its weight in gold for me.
I know you could speak from experience. The first thing when you got your license, the first thing I told you is never do anything for a check, never do anything for $1. But if you're good in this business, everything you do will lead to a successful career. And that's what it is.
I actually wrote that down when you told me that.
Genius.
We should engrave it somewhere.
Yes.
Maybe on my tombstone.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Dick Barr, never do anything for money.
Okay, anyone else got anything else to add before we jump away for a break?
Sly, you're just amazing. Thank you so much for always providing so much information for everybody.
I appreciate it. I do my best. I love help like you. I love helping people and taking care of people. And if I can be of service, I am.
You actually just taught me lessons I was trying to learn and thinking about asking to local realtors and lenders as well, too. So I appreciate it.
See, we helped somebody today.
Awesome.
Yep.
We'll be back.
Thank you.
Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr will return in just a few moments after these important messages. Don't touch that dial.
You're listening to Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr.
Unlocking Lake County.
98.3 The Life.
It's the best station on the radio.
Open Up Auction Service in Round Lake reminds you to raise your awareness of the importance
Support
of being
for Unlocking Lake
proactive
County
in
is
finding
provided by Fidelity National Title Insurance Company, offering title insurance and real estate services. With origins tracing back over 150 years, Fidelity National Title facilitates secure closing processes for buyers, sellers, and real estate professionals. Anyone looking for more information can find them on the web at www.fntic.com. Fidelity National Title has offices located all throughout Lake and McHenry counties.
You're listening to Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr.
You guys have a great radio station. You just play the best music.
Support for Unlocking Lake County is provided by Harder & Shotland Law Firm, offering legal services across various areas including criminal defense, real estate, family law, and more. Harder & Shotland is committed to addressing the legal needs of individuals and businesses with a focus on thorough and knowledgeable representation. Information on Harder & Shotland Law Firm can be found at hardershotland.com or by visiting their office at 625 West Rollins Road in Round Lake Beach. They can also be reached at 847-546-0022.
You're listening to Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr.
Unlocking Lake County.
98.3 The Life.
It's the best station on the radio.
Support for Unlocking Lake County comes from the Sly Marinca team at Cross Country Mortgage, specializing in a range of mortgage solutions tailored to meet the needs of homebuyers and homeowners. With a focus on delivering efficient and knowledgeable service, the Sly Marinca team is dedicated to facilitating a smooth mortgage process. Their office is located at 532 Lake Street, Suite A in Antioch, Illinois. They can also be reached at sly@ccm.com or by phone at 847-722-1775.
You're listening to Unlocking Lake County.
Unlocking Lake County
with Dick Barr. 98.3 The Life.
Support for Unlocking Lake County comes from the Dick Barr Group at Village Realty, offering both residential and commercial real estate services across northeastern Illinois. Find us at our office located at 1915 East Grand Avenue in Lindenhurst, or visit us online at www.dickbarr.com. For a personal real estate experience, they can also be reached at 847-579-9736. At the Dick Barr Group, your property goals are their mission.
This is Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr.
Support for Unlocking Lake County is provided by Fidelity National Title Insurance Company, offering title insurance and real estate services. With origins tracing back over 150 years, Fidelity National Title facilitates secure closing processes for buyers, sellers, and real estate professionals. Anyone looking for more information can find them on the web at www.fntic.com. Fidelity National Title has offices located all throughout Lake and McHenry counties.
You're listening to Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr.
Your favorite show right here on 98.3 FM.
98.3 The Life.
Support for Unlocking Lake County is provided by Harder & Shotland Law Firm, offering legal services across various areas including criminal defense, real estate, family law, and more. Harder & Shotland is committed to addressing the legal needs of individuals and businesses with a focus on thorough and knowledgeable representation. Information on Harder & Shotland Law Firm can be found at hardershotland.com or by visiting their office at 625 West Rollins Road in Round Lake Beach. They can also be reached at 847-546-0022.
Unlocking Lake County.
98.3 The Life.
Support for Unlocking Lake County is provided by Harder & Shotland Law Firm, offering legal services across various areas including criminal defense, real estate, family law, and more. Harder & Shotland is committed to addressing the legal needs of individuals and businesses with a focus on thorough and knowledgeable representation. Information on Harder & Shotland Law Firm can be found at hardershotland.com or by visiting their office at 625 West Rollins Road in Round Lake Beach. They can also be reached at 847-546-0022.
You're listening to Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr.
You guys have a great radio station. You just play the best music.
Support for Unlocking Lake County comes from the Marinca team at Cross Country Mortgage, specializing in a range of mortgage solutions tailored to meet the needs of homebuyers and homeowners. With a focus on delivering efficient and knowledgeable service, the Marinca team is dedicated to facilitating a smooth mortgage process. Their office is located at 532 Lake Street, Suite A in Antioch, Illinois. They can also be reached at sly@ccm.com or by phone at 847-722-1775.
You're listening to Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr.
Unlocking Lake County.
98.3 The Life.
It's the best station on the radio.
Support for Unlocking Lake County comes from the Dick Barr Group at Village Realty, offering both residential and commercial real estate services across northeastern Illinois. Find us at our office located at 1915 East Grand Avenue in Lindenhurst, or visit us online at www.dickbarr.com. For a personal real estate experience, they can also be reached at 847-579-9736. At the Dick Barr Group, your property goals are their mission.
You're listening to Unlocking Lake County.
Unlocking Lake County.
With Dick Barr. 98.3 The Life.
Support for Unlocking Lake County is provided by Fidelity National Title Insurance Company, offering title insurance and real estate services. With origins tracing back over 150 years, Fidelity National Title facilitates secure closing processes for buyers, sellers, and real estate professionals. Anyone looking for more information can find them on the web at www.fntic.com. Fidelity National Title has offices located all throughout Lake and McHenry counties.
You're listening to Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr.
You guys have a great radio station. You just play the best music.
Support for Unlocking Lake County is provided by Harder and Shotland Law Firm, offering legal services across various areas including criminal defense, real estate, family law, and more. Harder and Shotland is committed to addressing the legal needs of individuals and businesses with a focus on thorough and knowledgeable representation. Information on Harder and Shotland Law Firm can be found at hardershotland.com or by visiting their office at 625 West Rollins Road in Round Lake Beach. They can also be reached at 847-546-0022.
You're listening to Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr.
Unlocking Lake County.
98.3 The Life.
It's the best station on the radio.
Support for Unlocking Lake County comes from the Sly Marinca team at Cross Country Mortgage, specializing in a range of mortgage solutions tailored to meet the needs of homebuyers and homeowners. With a focus on delivering efficient and knowledgeable service, the Sly Marinca team is dedicated to facilitating a smooth mortgage process. Their office is located at 532 Lake Street, Suite A in Antioch, Illinois. They can also be reached at sly@ccm.com or by phone at 847-722-1775.
You're listening to Unlocking Lake County.
Unlocking Lake County.
With Dick Barr. 98.3 The Life.
Support for Unlocking Lake County comes from the Dick Barr Group at Village Realty, offering both residential and commercial real estate services across northeastern Illinois. Find us at our office located at 1915 East Grand Avenue in Lindenhurst, or visit us online at www.dickbarr.com. For a personal real estate experience, they can also be reached at 847-579-9736. At the Dick Barr Group, your property goals are their mission.
This is Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr.
Support for Unlocking Lake County is provided by Fidelity National Title Insurance Company, offering title insurance and real estate services. With origins tracing back over 150 years, Fidelity National Title facilitates secure closing processes for buyers, sellers, and real estate professionals. Anyone looking for more information can find them on the web at www.fntic.com. Fidelity National Title has offices located all throughout Lake and McHenry counties.
You're listening to Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr.
Your favorite show right here on 98.3 FM.
98.3 The Life.
Support for Unlocking Lake County is provided by Harder and Shotland Law Firm, offering legal services across various areas including criminal defense, real estate, family law, and more. Harder and Shotland is committed to addressing the legal needs of individuals and businesses with a focus on thorough and knowledgeable representation. Information on Harder and Shotland Law Firm can be found at hardershotland.com or by visiting their office at 625 West Rollins Road in Round Lake Beach. They can also be reached at 847-546-0022.
Unlocking Lake County.
98.3 The Life.
Support for Unlocking Lake County is provided by Harder and Shotland Law Firm, offering legal services across various areas including criminal defense, real estate, family law, and more. Harder and Shotland is committed to addressing the legal needs of individuals and businesses with a focus on thorough and knowledgeable representation. Information on Harder and Shotland Law Firm can be found at hardershotland.com or by visiting their office at 625 West Rollins Road in Round Lake Beach. They can also be reached at 847-546-0022.
You're listening to Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr.
You guys have a great radio station. You just play the best music.
Support for Unlocking Lake County comes from the Sly Marinca team at Cross Country Mortgage, specializing in a range of mortgage solutions tailored to meet the needs of homebuyers and homeowners. With a focus on delivering efficient and knowledgeable service, the Sly Marinca team is dedicated to facilitating a smooth mortgage process. Their office is located at 532 Lake Street, Suite A in Antioch, Illinois. They can also be reached at sly@ccm.com or by phone at 847-722-1775.
You're listening to Unlocking Lake County with Dick Barr.
Unlocking Lake County.
98.3 The Life.
It's the best station on the radio.
Support for
You're listening to Unlocking Lake County.
Unlocking Lake County.
With Dick Barr. 98.3 The Life.
Welcome back to Unlocking Lake County with your host, Dick Barr.
And welcome back to the second hour of Unlocking Lake County. I'm your host, Dick Barr, and here with the beautiful Kristen Kaufman.
Hello, everyone.
And also in the studio, we've got Sly Marinca, the Sly Marinca team of Cross Country Mortgage.
Hello.
And special guest in studio is J.R. Myers from Wauconda.
Hello, everybody.
And as promised, this hour we're going to talk about everything fun to do in Lake County. Well, not everything. We only have an hour. But before we do that, someone in this room, and I'm going to see if you guys can guess who it is, was nominated for Women's World Magazine Super Mom 2024.
Wow. Awesome. Amazing.
Congratulations, Sly.
I don't identify as a birthing parent.
You never know these days, right?
Yeah. I think next year it's going to be Super Birthing Person.
Yes.
And from what I understand is you've been up there, you've been doing this for a while, and you were number one going all along, and I guess it's getting more competitive as coming in, and people can vote for you. Is that right?
That is true. They can. I was nominated for it. I still to this day don't know who actually did it, and whoever it was, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Honestly, when I got the notification for that, it came in a time when I was really struggling personally with some things going on with my oldest. She's autistic, and I had been in the middle of having to advocate for her with her school for a handful of reasons, and was feeling particularly defeated in the moment, feeling like I was doing a lot of fighting for nothing, and then I'd gotten that notification. And I mean, I'm not gonna cry right now, but I definitely did cry quite a bit, because it's really nice just knowing that your efforts are seen by someone. And I mean, I think that's true for all of the moms involved in the contest too. I mean, we do so much, and we've got so many plates spinning at all times, and to have someone be like, hey, I see what you're doing, and I think you're doing a great job, it's everything.
And people can vote for you, right, to give you some support?
Yes, they can. So the contest itself is to benefit the Children's Miracle Network. So the way that it works is the easiest way is through Facebook. And what you can do is you get one free vote per person per day. And so there is that avenue, as well as any additional donations that you want to make per dollar. It's per vote. And all of the donations go toward the Children's Miracle Network and is tax deductible.
And so if someone wanted to vote for you, and where would they go?
You would go to www.supermom.
Vote Supermom.
Oh, vote. Thank you. Well, you have it. Why don't you just say what it is?
It's votesupermom.org/2024/Kristen, that's CHRISTIN -Kaufman, that's KAUFMAN. And again, that's votesupermom.org/2024/Kristen-Kaufman, and have our own Kristen Kaufman, who's a super agent in my office, be the super mom for 2024 and support the Children's Miracle Network. It's a great organization with a great mission.
Thank you, Dick.
Thanks so much. So let's get into, so now that you know the first thing you can do this summer, which is vote for Kristen for Supermom, we're going to get into all the other things we can do in the best county in Illinois. And I know this because I used to be a county board member. And so
you sure did.
Yeah.
You loved it.
I loved it. We were the best county out of 102 counties. Oh, but that's just on our taxes, by the way. We are the highest taxed county.
We're number one.
In the second highest taxed state. Can anyone guess what the first highest taxed state is in the nation?
In the nation?
Yeah.
Is it in the state?
Is it in the state?
Is it in, wait.
The highest taxed state in the nation.
I'm still thinking about myself in this contest, okay? I'm back now.
New York, New Jersey.
I was going to say Jersey.
Yeah, not New York.
Who said Jersey?
Jersey. We both did.
Yeah.
I said New York first, but yeah.
Yeah, it's Jersey.
Wow.
New Jersey. They're the highest tax, and that's as a percentage of value. But you look at some of the areas in Lake County, like on the very northeast corner where they've got lower home values, their taxes as a percentage of home value are astronomical.
Wow.
Yeah, like it could be as high as 10%. Although with the recent increases in value, it's probably lower than that now. We used to be about 5%, but the national average was 2.3%. And when, funny enough, we make fun of California all the time, but California's property taxes are capped at 1% of purchase price, and they can only go up by 1% a year.
Wow.
Yeah, we don't have such protections here in Illinois.
Oh,
no,
we don't have earthquakes as much, so.
we don't have earthquakes. Right, okay. Is it worth $12,000 a year to not shake a little bit? Okay, Kristen, I know you did some research for us. Why don't you tell us what's cool? What's happening in Lake County this summer?
What's cool and happening in Lake County this summer? Okay, so I have a list that I put together for the local festivals that we can attend if you want to. So I'm going to just go ahead and start. You want me to list the dates and everything too?
Yeah, but no prices.
Of course not. Okay, so starting in June, we have June 8th. That is the Grays Lake Art Festival. June 8th, we also have the Mundelein Craft Beer Festival. June 13th through the 16th, we have Libertyville Days. June 13th.
I love Libertyville Days, by the
too.
way. I first time I got here to Illinois back in '96, and my first Libertyville Days was '97, and I loved it. It was so much fun.
It is, and it's still so much fun. So then from there, we have June 13th through the 16th. We also have the Blarney's Island Key West Fest in Antioch. We have on June 15th.
Hold on, let's slow down when you get to Blarney Island, because
okay.
I think Blarney Island is probably the pinnacle destination for people looking for fun in Lake County. Does anyone have an argument with that?
I've heard that they've recently done some updates to the facility. I have not yet been. If they hadn't, I might have thrown some criticism towards the state of the bathrooms. I was there one time when I was...
oh, really?
Yeah, I was there one time when I was younger, and I was not happy with the bathroom experience to the point that I actually did not continue drinking so that I didn't have to use the bathroom.
Oh, that's funny. I can't speak to the women's room, but I know the guys' room.
Yeah.
You're in, you're out. There's like 400 urinals on the wall.
Yeah.
But I've heard that they've since done a bunch of revamping
Well,
of the
that's
place.
great.
So.
I used to have so much fun there. When we had our boat, we were there every weekend and sometimes during the week. They had great events.
Great bands, always live bands. They have the boat races Thursday nights.
The boat races are awesome. And that's where I learned to fall in love with Mellon Cougar, Don Wilson's old band. Modern Day Romeo is probably, my opinion. Oh, shoot. I was going to say the funnest band I've ever seen, but they are a band.
Yeah.
They are a band.
Yeah, but no, I always had a great time. That was my opinion of it. They were a great time. And they were a lot of fun. But the place, I don't know how it is today, but the place would be packed. It would be wall-to-wall people, and they had a lot of things going on, and it was just fun to get out, get on the boat, get out to the island, and have just a blast. Did anyone ever see the movie that was made? Really cheesy movie about Blarney Island. It was a horror movie.
I vaguely remember that several years back, yes.
Yeah, it was the cheesiest
I remember when they were
thing.
filming it there as well.
Oh, really?
And they filmed a music video there as well, a country music video a couple years ago there.
I'm obsessed. I need to know all of this right now. I need to go find it.
And it was cool because they showed you, it was like dawn, and they get on the boat and they're going out to Blarney Island, which, you know, the tagline for Blarney is 1,000,000 miles from nowhere or something. And so they get up in the morning, they get on the boat, it's like 7 in the morning, and then they get on the boat and they travel to Blarney Island, and they get there at dusk. Yeah. Kind of a false impression that's a quick a long boat ride, and we all know it's about probably maybe a 10-minute. The longest thing about the Blarney Island boat ride is waiting in line to get back if you don't have your own boat.
Yeah.
We used to call that the loser cruiser.
Right.
Yeah. No offense to anyone that takes it, because I take it now.
We went there last year. One time I had a friend that moved down to Florida, and he came back and wanted to hang out, and so we're like, and he used to have a boat on the chain. He's like, let's go to the boat races. So we went on a Thursday night. It was a really good time. Much nicer, the facility, since probably the last time you were there. I mean, they've done a great job. Lots of fun out there for sure.
I plan on checking it out this year. My husband runs a bar in the area, and they're not just a bar, but they have a bar. And some of the staff, we share some staff with the Blarney's Island staff, and I've heard nothing but great things from the staff about working there. They're very loyal. They've been there for years, so it sounds like the owners also treat their employees really well.
I wanted to go back just real quick to the renovations that were done. Probably the biggest renovation, if you haven't been to Blarney in, let's say, 15 years, maybe 20 years, the biggest difference you'll notice is there's no more bras hanging from the ceiling.
Yeah.
Oh.
The bras and underwear, yep, I remember
Never
those
mind,
days.
I'm not going.
Yeah, they cleaned it up a little.
Yeah, they
I actually
did.
have a list of the other Blarney's Island events if you want me to name those as well.
Yeah,
before
I'd love
we
to.
move on to the rest of the events in the area. Okay, so for Blarney's, we have on June 13th through the 16th, we have the Blarney's Island Key West Fest. July 11th through the 14th, they have Blarney Gras. July 26th through the 28th, there's 90s Fest. August 2nd through the 4th, there's Y2K Fest. That's what I'll be going to.
Oh, is that a 90s Fest?
What's that?
Is that? Oh, that's 2000s.
Y2K,
I'm an
Dick.
idiot. Yeah.
Obviously.
Sorry.
It's okay. And then August 9th through the 11th, we have 80s Fest. August 16th through the 25th. That can't be right. Through the 25th. I'll double check on that later on in the day. Fantasy Island. And then the 24th through the 25th is the Hawaiian Luau Party.
Cool.
And that is all at Blarney's Island.
We got any family events for people with kids? You can bring them into a more kid-friendly bra, no bras hanging on the ceiling event.
Not at Blarney's, but in the rest of the area. After that, we have on June 15th the Grays Lake Craft Beer Festival. So still going to be beer related. Moving on from
you can
that,
see where
though,
our minds are here at the station.
in the county.
We have fun.
So then moving on from that, on June 29th, we have the Taste of Grays Lake Family Picnic and Fireworks.
There we go.
Family.
July 4th through the 7th, there's Mundelein Community Days. July 5th through the 7th, there is Dog Days of Summer in Libertyville. July 6th is our favorite, Round Lake Beach Fest. We have July 11th through the 14th.
Well, hold on. The Beach Fest, that usually corresponds with the village's 4th of July spectacular over Hook Lake. So
Correct.
I strongly recommend getting to that. It's a great time. They usually have a really nice band up there on
I've
the
always had a
pavilion
great
stage.
time, for sure. Also, this isn't in our county, but a lot of people do like going to the McHenry Fiesta Days, which is going to be July 11th through the 14th. July 18th through the 21st is the Vernon Hills Days, which I've always had a blast at. July 18th through the 21st is the Taste of Antioch and Sidewalk Sales, which has been a lot of fun. I love their little downtown area. It's so cute up in Antioch. August 10th through the 11th is Gurney Days, and another favorite of mine, the August 22nd through the 25th is Linden Fest.
Oh yeah, Linden Fest is. I have always so much fun there.
I'm always so impressed with everything that they put on there.
They do a great job. Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of fun. Very, very family friendly.
Absolutely.
Did I miss some Wauconda love in there, Kristen?
I think you might have. I didn't see it. Do you have that information?
I know Memorial Day is kind of a big deal in Wauconda.
Oh,
We're
okay.
actually going to be a sponsor in that for Wauconda Screams for Ice Cream, so that's a great one.
Oh, cool.
They like to brag about their fireworks show, which
Nice.
obviously is kind of Lakemore. Everybody rants about those ones, so
Yeah.
people love that. So
Yeah.
kind of a little friendly competition going on there.
So you
Nice.
guys kind of go at it.
A little bit.
Little
It's kind of
rivalry?
recently happened with this ice cream discussion that we're going to get into too, so it's kind of
cool.
sparked it up a little bit.
Do you ever aim the fireworks at each other?
That would be great. I do have some stories from the fireworks show. I went to my first one last year that we probably can't talk about on air, but and then I know particularly we are doing the I want to say July 28th is the actual triathlon, which is kind of a big thing out there, and I'm looking to participate in that one as well too. So
Oh, that's awesome. I'm glad we got some Wauconda blood in the room.
Yeah, thank you.
representing Lake County, even that far south end.
Oh my goodness, absolutely.
Great. You got anything else, Chris?
That's what I've got for now.
Okay, great. So because we talked too much, I'm a little bit behind schedule, but I do want to now do a full introduction of J.R. Myers. J.R. Myers is a resident of Wauconda. He's lived there for 14 years. It looked like in the video I watched online, you've got two kids and one kid and one on the way?
So I've got one kid and one on the way, which hasn't been announced publicly yet, other than till last night. So
Okay.
yes.
I was like, oh boy. Did I just blow a secret?
It's on YouTube, so yes.
Congratulations.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
I think what he said, I have to go because I got to go pick up my
you'll
pregnant mom.
You'll see my little guy in the video too. Obviously, mom's at
Aw.
work when we do these meetings, so
Yeah.
he's right there.
How old's the oldest?
Just turned a year 3 weeks ago, so.
Oh, okay.
wow,
So he's got no idea
congratulations.
what a sibling is.
No, not yet.
That's cool. But as any parent, especially especially, Wauconda is one of those communities. It's like, it reminds me of a little bit of Libertyville. It reminds me of Antioch. It's got a real nice, warm downtown feel. People are generally close. Everyone knows each other. That's my impression of Wauconda. Am I close?
I would say you're spot on. So I grew up in Lake Zurich, and I didn't start getting out in Wauconda and appreciating it probably a couple of years ago. But I get out, and every day you go out for a walk, everybody's saying hi and hello, and you get to know everybody in the neighborhood. So it's great to just walk out your door and run into somebody you know and get that warm town feel. So
I agree
you are
with
close.
that. I've shown some houses in Wauconda, and even just in the time that I've been in an area to just open a door and bring someone through a house, neighbors have stopped by to say hello and introduce themselves and welcome someone to hopefully buy the house there.
And that's
which
cool.
never happens. They're so kind.
And it's a hot market. It's hard to get a house in Wauconda. You can get a house, but a house that meets your needs is the hard part.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then we had a show about that recently where we said if you can't find a house that meets your needs in your budget, find one that doesn't meet your needs and make it yours.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of like what the people who are doing that now are going to really be glad they did in 10, 15 years. But Wauconda is like one of the closest communities to what I think. What's the artist who draws the Saturday Evening Post paintings? Norman Rockwell. It's kind of have that kind of American, old-timey, nostalgic feel. It just kind of feels like a community that's a step back. People take their time. That's not rushing. The shops look good. The streets look good. The homes are well kept and cared for. And surprisingly, I just learned this recently, that Wauconda is one of the few communities that prohibit ice cream trucks traveling through the community. Yeah.
What?
Yep.
Why?
That is generally everybody's reaction.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it.
So basically, they're saying at this point it's kind of changed gears here. It was for safety reasons, one of them being child abduction, but obviously that was...
Child abduction?
Yeah, I know. That was one of the crazy ones where we first started. And then it got into the safety of the kids running after trucks and out in the streets, but we've asked them to show cases where that's happened from all our neighbors, as you mentioned, and there's no cases. Mundelein recently allowed it, I believe in 2016, and haven't had any instances. So now they're going with the protect the brick and mortar aspect, which is a reasonable solution.
Sure. I'm sympathetic
problem,
to that argument.
Yes, I definitely agree.
Right, but it needs a high resolution analysis. It can't be low resolution.
Right.
Well, to be fair, if you don't mind that I just interject.
Oh, yeah,
real
absolutely.
quick, I mean, as a parent of small kids, right, I can definitely say, and someone who was once a child, I can definitely say that driving to any of the brick and mortar ice cream shops is not going to give you that same feeling of absolute elation that hearing the ice cream truck music is ever going to give you.
So you just touched on it right there. The argument now is at this last meeting that Dick actually had the pleasure of watching. Nostalgia is what they're concentrating on now, and they just can't see the value of the nostalgia to allow the effect to the brick and mortars, which has been shown to be little to none, and we've tried to do it in a respectful manner with them to figure it out. Obviously, these trucks will not be on Main Street or anything like that, and people have said, so I live far out. How am I supposed to necessarily gather up my kids for 45 minutes, getting all the car seats and everything, go to the... I don't want to name drop places here, but like the Dairy Queen or whatever. And
I don't want to name drop, but I'm going to name drop.
I figured that's a chain, so I figured that's okay.
Yeah.
And Dairy Queen has been great through this actually too. So we've talked to them, and
Oh, okay, they're supportive.
I wouldn't say they're supportive, but they're understanding of the situation.
Okay.
So they said it would probably affect their business a little bit, understandably. But I mean,
They're
that's obviously a
completely different
concern.
experiences,
That's
though.
what everybody's saying. They're saying honestly, if I get my kid an ice cream in the streets, we're still going to go get that Dairy Queen at night. If I want a Blizzard, I'm going to go get a Blizzard.
Yeah, absolutely.
And again, I'm just using them as the example because they're obviously the big chain that everybody knows.
Well,
and
as
I
a
know the family, and they're a
consumer-
great family too. So
And they don't have soft serve on ice cream trucks. It's
prepackaged ice cream.
Yeah, exactly.
totally
so it's two different
different.
things.
When I grew up, we had Mr. Softy.
Really?
I loved Mr. Softy. Yeah, and it was a
Wow.
double cone with the, on both sides.
Huh.
That's actually the running joke. Is one of the trustees actually said, "You can go get this at Ace Hardware." I don't know who's going to Ace Hardware for their ice cream needs, but
I don't know.
Menards has that chest right by the cash register,
Oh,
and
yeah.
they always get my kids because it's really low, and they could look in there and pick their Twix ice cream Twix.
Nothing brings back memories from the days I went out with my dad, and we'd go down to the beach and stop at Lowe's on the way home for ice cream.
Yeah, right.
It's so interesting
memories.
to me, though, that they can't see the value in the nostalgia, considering that millennials are the majority of parents now of young kids.
Right.
And we are the nostalgia generation.
Right.
I mean, just look at all of the resurgence of shows that are making a killing right now because it triggers our nostalgia. We're all about that. In fact, just the other week, I had to have been last week. Yeah, I was visiting with my mom, and I had my kids with me, and my niece, who's the same age as my 5-year-old, was there as well. And I heard the ice cream truck music, and it occurred to me that it's the first time I've really heard it in that area in a long time. And I was looking around at the kids, ready for them to be like, ice cream, but no one knew what the music meant. And I was like, how do we not know what that is? Guys, come on, let's go right now. And I raced them to the streets, and it's interesting that they bring up running as an issue. So as the parent of an autistic child who tends to run all the time, that still wasn't necessarily a top concern of mine at the moment. I mean, I held her hand, made sure she stayed safe, normal parent responsibilities.
And, you know what's funny is
and we ran straight out there, and they were so happy.
We've got a funny thing in our house where we say to the kids when they hear the ice cream truck music, it means they're out of ice cream. so tell me, JR, a little bit more about your efforts. What have you done to start lobbying and activating the community on this?
Gotcha. Just real quick, so the nostalgia people throw out Phil's Beach that recently got renovated as an example, and they're doing a mural that they want to incorporate the Blues Brothers into. So clearly nostalgia is alive and well in Wauconda.
Absolutely.
So so the things I've done is obviously, so last year we started this. I got reached out by somebody in my neighborhood because we had a garage sale event, and they found out that they weren't allowed on the streets. People knew my history with the village board meetings. They said, hey, can you present this to the board? And I was like, absolutely. So I went through all the avenues of talking to the mayor and everything. Got told, basically, so you got to go through the EDC. Once it gets up here, it's virtually passed, and then we might iron out details. So I did everything he did, wasted the whole summer, got all the work done, passed the EDC 4-2. Only to find out that only to find out it got fast tracked after we got through the EDC. If they did a straw poll, so we thought there was going to be another EDC. They did not do that. It got fast tracked in November to the actual board meeting. They did not allow the EDC chair, who's also a trustee, to give her discussion and discovery to the board. There was clearly a fast-track vote that she had no idea was even going to happen, so they voted it down 5-1 without discussion. So we gathered, obviously, and food trucks have jumped on our community as well, too, helped grow the cause a little bit. Kind of what you said, people are finding out, hey, we don't know what an ice cream truck is, but now that we know it, we want it.
Yeah.
We had it growing up. We never thought of it. We didn't know they weren't allowed, but why aren't we getting that?
Yeah.
So we were able to get this trustee that voted yes to actually bring it up on the discussion again this year. Last night was the vote, and unfortunately we did not get that second motion, even though members of the community did turn out. That was their big holdup. We don't see members turn out for the community. So members did show up. 5 of them spoke, and there was clearly more there in support. If you watch the speeches online, they're great. People brought their kids, everything. There was no reason to look, because that's why I said, look these kids in the eyes and tell them no.
You can't have ice cream.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they did.
Interesting. So do you have an ice cream truck?
That's the crazy thing is people ask me that all the time, and no, I do not. I'm not going to lie. I looked into it. It wouldn't be profitable the first year, so and my busy season like yours is summer, so it wouldn't be feasible. But it was an interesting. But no, I do not have an ice cream truck.
So you don't have any personal incentive other than just, hey, I think this would be good for the community.
Like I said, it was something I could easily get behind because I loved it growing up, and absolutely, I've got kids now, and pardon my French, I don't know if we're allowed to swear. I'll be damned.
No, you can't. Yeah, you can say damned.
Okay. I'll be damned if my kid's not going to have ice cream.
It's interesting. You had said, look these people in the face and tell them. Look these kids in the face and tell them. So, as someone with a political background, I'll tell you one of the things that does bother me. I understand people have reasons for supporting it or not supporting it. I'm not going to assume their motives. I'm not going to, and I've seen some people saying, "Oh, they're in the pockets of big ice cream." Come on, that's not happening. But when a trustee brings something up for a motion and it's a reasonable thing to discuss, they should get even a courtesy second, so it can be brought up to a vote, so the record could be clear about where people sit on the issue. That vote should be record. And I think it's kind of a wimp's way out to not provide that second so a vote can be heard. The public should know who's where on what.
That was exactly my perception as well, too, and I feel like it was calculated, but at the very least, that's why we got it on camera, and so everybody has record. I don't know how many people watch those, but at least it is on that record that way. So
what would be your next steps then?
Well, hold on a second.
Okay.
When just kind of rules of order when it comes to, some people might say, and this is a lesson for anyone who sits on a board. If you make a motion, you're not allowed to argue against the motion because it's your motion. But if you second it, you are allowed to.
Sure.
So even if you want to say some negative things in opposition to what's on the ballot, giving that second to the motion. And what's actually interesting, and I do credit this, and I'm sure it's a mistake, an accidental mistake, which is a good thing. Technically, they're not even allowed to discuss it until there's that second to the motion.
Sure, right.
So the first and second comes before discussion and then a vote, not the discussion, then a first and second. So whatever. But like I said, at least they got to talk about it, so people spoke what they were thinking. I have to say my personal opinion is, and this is meaningless to anyone, I don't live in Wauconda, right? But most of the arguments I don't give credit to. I don't think there's a outweighed safety issue. If you ask, well, let's look at the numbers. How many people were injured in ice cream truck collisions or accidents or what? And then say, okay, well, what if they got into a car, drove through downtown, went through an intersection? How many accidents occurred there? Right. So to say that one person could have gotten hurt isn't enough for me. You'd have to prove to me that there's an overwhelming majority of probability that they're likely to get hurt in that scenario.
Which is what we asked for, is the actual proof, which they could not provide or chose not to provide.
Yeah. But the argument that I am sympathetic to is the brick and mortar argument. Okay, so I'd like to discuss that actually, if you don't mind.
Sure, absolutely.
The one trustee who spoke in favor of it, I don't know her name. If you want to share it, you can.
Jen Kuhn.
Jen Kuhn. Okay, she offered what I thought was a brilliant compromise, which was, okay, if you don't want people coming and competing with the ice cream shops, what if you went to the ice cream shops and says, hey, do you want a license to drive around the communities and sell ice cream?
Absolutely. And I agree, totally give them the opportunity first. And if they can't give that, then explore the other options if possible. And like you said, try it out and come to we all got to get together and have the discussion was the whole point of this. And they obviously refused to do that. And that was a great compromise on her part.
Yeah, and I didn't see anyone directly respond to that suggestion.
Correct.
Okay, cool. I'm sorry, Kristen, what were you wanting to say?
No, that's okay. So you had the meeting. It was struck down. What now?
So we're actually in discussions with people, including yourselves, which we're great for being here. We want to get the word out. Like I said, outside communities have been great too. Some were from Wauconda, some have friends in Wauconda, and they've been helping this platform grow in that way. So we definitely want to get the word out. We've reached out to news agencies, but that obviously hasn't happened. But you guys are great, so we totally appreciate that. There's been talk of getting it on the referendum for the ballot. I don't know what that looks like yet, but give the power back to the people to make that vote. And then obviously there's been talk of changing out the people in the political platform in Wauconda. I know the mayor seat and 3 trustees, one of them being Jen, who was in support, are up this spring election. So
wow, imagine losing your political seat over ice cream.
You know, that's kind of what we say is too, like, you're really going to do all this over an ice cream truck?
It's an interesting hill to choose to.
And I will say the problem in Wauconda, though, is these seats run unopposed. There's not enough people that come for these seats. So hopefully this draws people to come to that. I mean, that's a whole different discussion. Sometimes I think government is too big, but I hope some people do come to these positions to see what's going on and consider running for them.
And let's be real here. This isn't about carrying pitchforks and torches to, like, get rid of them, vote them out. This is about, hey, come on, have a reasonable conversation with us.
Listen to us.
We don't hate you, and we don't even need you to necessarily vote exactly how we want, because you're always going to, upset half of the population, right?
Yep.
But give us reasonable responses to our reasonable questions.
Yep.
And if the data shows you're right, and the reason you said, you can't just say it's dangerous, so therefore it should be gone. You need to show it's dangerous.
Absolutely.
You can't just, and that's to me the problem with overreaching government.
Yep.
There was one trustee who said something when I watched the playback of your meeting last night. I'm very interested in what this is. He had made an accusation of, I'm assuming it was you, because you're the person I know who has the We Scream for Ice Cream Facebook page, accused you of creeping on his 14-year-old daughter. Can you address that? What is that about? And I'm sorry if that's not a comfortable question.
I saw leave to get my wife last night, and I was made aware of this after the fact. But yes, I do run the social medias for this page. I will admit that I do aggressively click, the suggestions and all that sort of thing, go through it.
When you say suggest, you talk about the suggested friends?
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
And, if I might look to see that somebody is connected to Wauconda, but I'm not clicking on these profiles or anything like that and singling out certain people or anything like that, especially at that age thing. So I think they also tag me on my social medias as my name JR. So there's no secret that they know who's running that page. So I feel that was a calculated thing.
Yeah, I didn't like the aspersion cast because I got to say, did he ever speak to you about that personally before saying that publicly?
He did not. He refused to answer any emails. He has all along. I don't know if I can get in trouble with this. He's actually been a client of mine in the past.